Good day everyone! For today's lesson, I will be discussing about the approaches of teaching literature. And for you to be guided throughout the lesson, here are the objectives that you will be able to achieve at the end of the lesson. Differentiate the three main approaches to teaching literature. Develop a deeper understanding and appreciation of each approach. According to Macmillan Dictionary, approach is a particular way of thinking about or dealing with something. Thus, in the context of teaching literature, approach would be mean the best way or the best practice a teacher uses to teach literature to learners in the classroom in order to achieve his or her goal of imparting relevant and meaningful knowledge to the learner. Approaches in teaching literature are the methods and strategies a teacher uses to engage students and help them gain a meaningful understanding of text. A good approach aligns with the teacher's goals and the needs of the learners. In this lesson, we'll focus on three key approaches that can be used in the classroom. First, the traditional approach. Second, the language-based approach, and the last one is the reader-response approach. First, we're going to tackle about the traditional approach. The traditional approach is a teacher-centered, meaning the teacher plays the primary role in guiding the lesson. Many of us must be familiar with this approach, where the teacher spells out important terms and concepts as a necessary part of the discussion. The students has no choice but to listen what the teacher says. In the classroom setting, the teacher provides background information like the social, political, and historical background to a text. Students mainly listen and memorize information with minimal interaction or personal response. Students primarily listen, take notes, and memorize information. They are expected to understand the content as explained by the teacher, but there is less emphasis on personal interpretation or deep engagement. The learners, on the other hand, have only few opportunities to do the task and formulate their feelings and responses about the reading text, which tends to make this approach quite teacher-centered. The challenge of this approach, it tends to reduce students to passive recipients of information, limiting their ability to critically engage with the text. Now, let's move on to language-based approach, as it became vital to look for more effective approach to teaching literature that would help learners interact profoundly with literary texts, as well as reconsider the teacher's role. A language-based approach seemed to be the appropriate option. This approach integrates language learning with literature, focusing on vocabulary, grammar, and language use within the text. It involves activities like exercises, dramas, and poetry recitals to help students engage with both the language and the content of the literature. The language-based approach also extends the students' reading and writing skills seems to be most appropriate. In this approach, the student's attention is focused on the way language is used in the literary text, drawing the attention of the learner to various aspects of the target language like grammar and vocabulary among others, thereby either increasing, or enhancing his awareness of the language. This is what Maley and Duff surmise as the primary aim of this approach, that is to engage learners in language activities via literary text. The learner is seen engaged in varied language activities such as jigsaw puzzle, fill-in-the-blank exercises, organizing sentences, creative thinking and writing, as well as performance activities like drama and poetry recital. All of these are done with the intention of using the various aspects of a language as a means to teaching literature through what is called as deconstruction. This is offered by Savido, who asserts this approach as using literary text as a means for linguistic practice and literature as the source of language activities. The benefit of this, it helps students improve their language skills while also deepening their appreciation for the literary text, making the learning experience more dynamic and interactive. The last one is the reader response approach. It is developed by Rosenblatt's transactional theory. This approach emphasizes student-centered learning where the reader response to the text is central. Students actively interpret and interact with the text based on their own emotions, thoughts, and experiences at the same time promotes his or her personal development and growth. These activities include individual tasks like personal writing and journal writing, along with collaborative tasks like brainstorming sessions and small group discussions. Khatib reiterates this sentiment, saying that the personal approach develops in the learner an open mind and a willingness to learn for beyond the mere improvement of his or her language proficiency, while at the same time making his or her a better and more skilled reader in the process. The Journal of Language affirmed this view, in which the personal response approach as a potent and powerful way of teaching literature and optimizing learning. By allowing the active participation of students and their full engagement in reading a text and class discussion, this approach vests upon those teaching literature the indisputable power that literature can have in positively affecting the lives of students even beyond the classroom. So these are the references of each approaches. In conclusion, each approach has its strengths and challenges, so teachers can select or combine these approaches to cater to their students' needs, fostering a deep connection with literature and language. So how does combining elements of the three approaches in teaching literature create a more effective learning experience for students?